Welcome to another episode of Blockchain Basement, the best daily streaming show on Twitch. We were just laughing at you guys in the chat. You know, keep it civil here, boys. And I don't know what's going on, but it was going sideways quick. And BJ just asked, "Can I go live now while we're talking about boobs?" And,
like those areolas.
Oh gosh, here we are.
No.
Here we are.
Going well shaped quick.
Yeah, exactly. We fell apart quick. We're gonna have a good show. We've got Kelly the Kellum from BitLab Academy joining us here. Prepper Crypto, the truth. We're already dropping frames. It looks like BJ Biscuit Jesus on the board. Beautiful Allie joining us here today, and of course, all of you guys. Juggy, I see you. Thank you for showing up. I know you said you've been doing a new role at job. I mentioned you last week as one of the founding members of the basement, and you just happened to pop up on my Instagram feed, and I was like, hey, where you been? Here he is. Glad to have him back in here. It's not the same without some of the OG members. Of course, we've got Paper Planes, the Zeus, Ralphie, Crimson Caravan Company, Corey Harden, another OG member that is everywhere, Jay Serrano, Ralphie, Manawak, Chemistry Bro, of course, Hellfire Spawn, Razmataz, here for the basement. That's a legit username right there. The original daddy. You guys all have really good names. Everybody, what's up, Bit Squad?
Just the original D-Day.
Did I read it wrong?
I think they typed it wrong.
The original D. No, you're right. Yeah, the original D. I gave it a better. Mine was better. So you should update your username. It'd be funnier that way. But and of course, Juggy, Randall Scott Bot in the house. Really appreciate all you guys being here. Gonna have a good show. We're gonna be talking about what to expect for Bitcoin this week. Some things to keep an eye on. What else did I have? I don't even remember. Basically, market psychology. Oh, big MasterCard partnership in Brazil. That's pretty big news. We've been talking about Brazil as one to watch pretty much since the inception of this show. BRICS banks. We got a Prepper Crypto tweet about that when it was first conceptualized, where that idea came from, and here we are. Yeah. So real quick, just check in. Kelly, how you feeling? BitLab Academy, I know you've got a lot of really good stuff going on. We've got the FOMC meeting this week, everybody. It's pretty much a lock for 25 basis points. But for those newer users out there and some of that kind of stuff, what are some things for them to pay attention to, keep an eye on, and all that sort of stuff as we get into this week of, really we're closing out January, moving into February?
Well, first off, shout out to everybody here in the basement. Great being with all you guys down here, guys and gals down here. I think this sort of week, especially coming up to the end of end of the month. One, let's talk about how great it is to actually see at least a midterm uptrend.
All right.
Excuse me, I have to cough out the bearishness from last year.
Get that out of you.
We're coming up on the end of the month, but it's not only the FOMC. We got to really be aware of there's massive earnings this week as well. Exxon, Pfizer, Meta, Amazon, Alphabet. And the list is huge. And that's, in conjunction with FOMC as well. So if anything, I would say there's a common saying amongst people that have made profits in trading, and that is sometimes the best trade is no trade.
Yep.
So I think there's going to be a lot of action going both directions. So I think don't trade emotionally this week. Just watch how it all plays out. And then, take your move, I would say, going into next week after we see a clear direction from all the fallout from all the information we get. That's kind of what I'm saying. Patience and planning equals profits, baby.
There you go. I like that. We got somebody asked, so Fed raises 0.5 big drop, 25 big pump. No, not necessarily. There's very, very little to no likelihood we're going to see a 0.5 this point. Like the predictions have been pretty on point. They basically told us 25 basis points is coming. I expect 25 basis points probably one or two more times this year throughout as we go forward. Maybe a zero, a hold next cycle. I know I think there was a 15% or so chance that we see that.
They missed Brenda. They missed Brenda in the chat. They said, "What happened to Brenda? Does she only love you in the bull market?" Yeah,
Brenda's only here during the bull market. She was a very fair weather fan.
She wanted to sell the top on TJ.
Yeah, she she's not the good trader. She didn't realize, like Allie knows, you have to accumulate in the bear market.
So I scooped him up in the bear market.
Yeah.
And no, Brenda turned out to be a man. Yeah. TJ got catfish.
No, we knew that. We knew she was a man. We actually, I met Brenda, the real Brenda, at one of the first meetups we ever did. I'm pretty sure I wonder if that website's still up there, tjslover.com. It was pretty funny little bit that they did. That was That was some better days. That's when things are fun. Everything's pumping. Everybody's having a good time.
Corey Harden said, I still have 1,000 TJ Lover coins that TJ insists aren't worth anything. I expected utility.
Yeah, not my coins. I didn't touch them. So,
You didn't know he was buy one, get one free, did you?
Brenda was a Brad.
Brenda was definitely a Brad. So, yeah. Moving into, kind of CoinMarketCap, I do want to spin down it real quick. We have had a slight pullback, but pretty much everything, we were pushing into the high 23s over the weekend, which is nice, bumping off kind of a typical support range here since let's see, let's look at the month. I mean, obviously great month of January, just boom boom. This is a heck of a bear trap, as they would say. Biggest bear trap I've ever seen, as a lot of the bears out there are saying. And I don't think you can really call 40% a bear trap. I do think we are going to cool off a little bit here with the raise. Tends to be logical, tends to make sense. Again, healthy consolidation around this point. And then once we settle in that range, 24 turns into a really key level, and then 25 is a very key level. Obviously, if we can get above that, there's not a lot holding us from going all the way up to 28 to 30.
But hey, we got to pull back to 23. How great does that feel?
It sounds amazing, right? Pull back to 23. Yeah,
we didn't know if we were going to get back to 20 3 weeks ago, so this is great.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, I like that one. He'll be back on Friday. Actually, we think we enjoyed, if you guys didn't see it on Friday, we had the whole Vumio crew in here, Justin, DZ, Taco.
Yep.
And Drew was hosting. How did that go? How was it, Drew?
It was good. I kind of, demand reasons for why these things exist, and they explain everything that's going on in a really concise manner. We shoot down a lot of the, we speak pretty openly about stuff that we think, kind of reads as BS, things that look potentially harmful to the to investors, and kind of discuss the actual future as we see it or as they see it, and kind of quantify that whole reasoning for where the space is going in general, which I think is really important. Because, NFTs aren't just pictures. And there's going to be a lot of things coming beyond what we know NFTs have been. And it was really good to have that open forum discussion and my get off my lawn mentality for them to kind of, bring it back around. So it worked out really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Bud Lightyear said, I liked NFT Talk. Definitely do it again. Battletoad said the Goon Squad was fire. Yeah. I mean, they're not small in the Vumio office. That's where we put the big guys.
Friday's crew looked like someone you would avoid in a dark alley.
Yeah.
I know. I had to warn Taco about maybe he might break that chair eventually.
Yeah. They're all big, big guys. Like you said, that's when we need some muscle, we bring the Vumio crew with us. But I think we are, for at least for the next, oh gosh.
There's the bear trap.
That's too much. That's too much.
No, but TJ, when I came here the first time, I could not believe, back in August, I could not believe just general average height of everybody in the office. I'm not short. I'm 5'11", 5'11 and a half. But usually I'm like among the top 3, because most people are shorter than that.
Yeah.
Every guy that works here, I think, except for one, is like 6'2", 6'3", 6'1". It's like, what's going on, man?
Yeah, it is an anomaly. Drew's not small. What are you, 6'6"?
Yep, 6'6".
He's a big boy himself.
And Joel.
Apparently only 1% of men are 6 feet and taller. You would not think that being
What?
with this
Yeah.
office. Yep.
Oh, on globally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously it skews a little higher in the U.S., but if you average...
I felt like I was in the NBA when I went to Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
They're tiny over there. Yeah, that's funny. Joel as well from Hit Gaming. He's also 6'4", 6'5". So yeah, a lot of people well over 6 feet. Obviously, I'm not one of them. Ben's not one of them. So
I'm like one of the shorter ones at 6'2".
right. We pull the height in by association. We're here with the big brains, not necessarily the big bodies, I guess we could say.
Hey, I'm genetically 6 foot. But
Yeah.
after my accidents, my right leg shorter now.
Horizontally. Okay.
Yes, we have seen Crypto Crow, and he's still as big as all
Isn't
those
he like
dudes are.
6'8" or something?
He's pushing 7.
Oh my gosh!
Is he really that
I
big?
think he's like 6'9", 6'10", something like that. He's a big dude.
That's a big guy.
Yeah, which is so funny. You never realize because you're always, YouTubers, you're always sitting down. You kind of see it, from the waist up or whatever. But we'll probably do that on Fridays going forward with Drew hosting and some of those guys in there. So stay tuned for that. Get your NFT questions ready.
Yep.
By the way, shout out, if you want to be joining us live, twitch.tv/bitboy_crypto. If you're hearing this anywhere else on YouTube, I was going to pull this up. I was looking at the YouTube numbers over the weekend, and I'm looking at you guys, YouTube audience. I know most of you guys watch this channel a lot and you're not subscribed. I can tell there's way more non-subscribers watching than subscribers. So if you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed and you kind of think this is kind of cool information, we'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, even turn on notification bells. It all helps.
Right.
And if you're out there...
Or else.
Yeah, or we're going to stick BJ. That's a scary face. You don't want that person in your dreams. because what he does in your dreams is much different than what happens in your normal dreams.
You ever
So-
seen Freddy
Or
Krueger?
you'll be changing your sheets in the morning. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's what he does in your dreams is trust me, I've seen him. You know, don't
Seen-
What?
exactly. Don't he's a dream raider. You know, he wears that dream hack hoodie for a reason. He knows what he's doing, and it's not just on a computer.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
So no, anyway, we really appreciate it, guys. Obviously, we've got audio as well for those of you who want to listen on your commute, driving. We're on most audio platforms out there. So yeah, we really appreciate all the support. We love you guys. Best community by far. You guys in the chat comments have always been great. Love your questions. Actually, I need to remember. Somebody help me remember. Maybe Drew, you could help me with this. Digging through, I pulled a few questions from the YouTube chat.
Oh, yeah.
From the YouTube comments for us to address in here.
Let me look them up here real quick. On the last show, Friday?
It could have been a while ago. I keep forgetting to
Okay.
tell Johnny that that's part of what I want him to pull in.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll get to that in the future. Just as we go forward, I might try to work those in.
Yeah.
Frames dropping hard. Yeah, sorry. TJ tells.
All his communities there. The
Oh,
best.
that's not. You guys are really this is the only community that I really consider
It's
to
my
be
favorite.
ours.
I
you know.
wanted to, like, it's awesome to see, everyone in the chat. I see what you guys are saying online and Twitter in response to these macro doom and gloom stuff. You guys have been really intelligent about cutting through the BS and the constant fear porn that
There's
is
a lot of
pushed
it.
out.
Mhm.
And you use great discernment. So shout out to you guys because we have enough of that stuff going on. We need a little bit of discernment and a little bit of knowledge.
And
spread
again, if
around.
you guys have been in the basement for a long time, you guys have always known I'm partial to the basement, and it's been that way for years. I love the YouTube audience, BitBoy Crypto, all that stuff too. But this basement crowd, like Drew was saying, you guys are smart, you're sharp, you're not your typical retail trader. You take in a lot of different informations, you assess different things, and you take it seriously. So real quick, we're gonna roll through this. Best January since 2013. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. So great start to the year. Bitcoin price eyes 24K with the FOMC volatility predicted. The weekend proved no different to others in January, which actually, yeah, I thought we were going to hit 24 this weekend. I don't know if it was a Sunday night pump. Sunday afternoon pump. Everybody's watching football, and I'm sitting over here like, oh my gosh, look at this price of Bitcoin.
I should have followed my own plan. I was going to short right as we hit 24, and I was too tired, and I had a beer, and so that's one of my rules is not to do that.
Don't trade.
Yeah.
No drinking and trading.
Yeah, and I'd set that rule because I longed it up to the 23.8, and then I was like, all right, when this thing pumps back up to right under 24, I'm going to short it, and then I didn't because I went and took my wife out on a date, and I woke up and I should have done exactly as I said I should.
Well, it's all right. You took your wife on a date. I'm sure that gets you a different kind of bonus
That's a
points.
win.
Yeah.
It did.
So
Not a win.
Hey,
not a winning trade. Well, maybe a winning trade. Who knows?
it's between wealth and riches, and wealth is through your legacy, in my opinion. So I'm
There you
trying
go.
to-
Yeah, when there's a lot of
That's
different.
the truth.
That's a lot of different trades, a lot of different trade-offs. So we probably made the right decision there. It's not going to come back to haunt you. This is always an interesting chart to look at. This is the Bitcoin monthly returns chart. It can be a little misleading sometimes when it, because it's month over month, and you can't really go with it 100%. But I just I just enjoy looking at it. You got your years over here. This 2013 on the bottom, all the way up to 2022. And so what it's looking at, 2013 was this month here in January where it did 44%. We did 44% here in 2023. And I believe 2013 is kind of when we had the double top. 2015 turned out to be a pretty decent year with some good pumps in here. But generally speaking, I have a feeling this is going to end up being similar to 2019, where again, it didn't feel like a bull market, but you see how much green was across here in 2019. And then you have small pullbacks, and then, the real fun 2020 and 2021, where you start to get these big 30%, 24%, 27%, 47%, 46. Like, look at this run here. 27%, 42%, 46% into 14.5, 36.7, 29. This is when we were all having a blast. And then this was that weird drop in the middle, started to recover, we lost that blow off top there. 2022, brutal correction year. So again, I have a feeling this is going to end up playing out a lot like 2019.
Right.
We'll stack 24 on top of it, and we're back to the fun time after that. What you got?
Well, Big Hands Dan's asking about any feeling of a black swan coming in that graph. I wanted to answer while we're looking at it. If you remember that, flu season was a black swan, and you see all of those green months, and the market's completely disconnected from the reality of goods not being shipped across, and the market still went absolutely nuts. So monetarily, no, I don't think there's, you have to, I think the differentiation between monetary black swan and real world black swan, it should be acknowledged because it can, I've seen it separate where, by all rights, it should be going down, but it went vertical. So,
well, and I feel like it's, obviously that's a kind of a term within markets. I feel like it's getting a little overused these days. Anything, basically they call any bad correction a black swan. By definition, a black swan is an unpredictable event on the market. So the question, do you see any black swans coming, is kind of, it's not even a legitimate question really, because you can't see a black swan coming. That's what makes it a black swan, so there
we can have catastrophic events that affect the market, but that doesn't necessarily make it a black swan. Yeah.
Especially if people talk about it a long time ahead of it, like what we're seeing.
Wouldn't it be a swanatrophic? Because if it was a catastrophic, it'd be a cat, not a swan.
Gosh, BJ.
I'll see myself out.
No, that was perfect. Thank you, BJ.
A question from Jasonian P. Lost all my crypto on Celsius right before I was about to pull all my ETH out to run a validator node with Avado. Back to close to 16 ETH and considering running a rocket pool node with Avado. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know much about Avado personally. I assume if it's on chain, if you trust it, I don't know if it's a pool, where you're locking it up. So, as long as you understand it and you feel comfortable with it, I don't have any problems with it. Lido is obviously a decent one to do it with, where you can do it all on chain. There are other ones out there as well, because basically, for those of you who don't know, it takes a minimum of 32 ETH to run a validator node on your own. There's actually a lot more to it than just having 32 ETH. There's a lot of things when it comes to uptime and internet connections. You want to have backup. So it's not, unless you're technically savvy, it's not necessarily the simplest thing to do on your own.
And I wouldn't do it if you had 32 ETH and putting all 32 ETH in that. You need to sort of diversify it, because the lesson there was with Celsius. If all your coins were there and you lost them all, same thing even with the validator node or mining or anything you're going to do, you still need to diversify where you're storing and holding your coins, just to make sure you don't end up in that same situation.
Yeah, you don't want all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, because it is risky there.
And sorry about your loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel that, man. We lost a lot in Celsius as well. I know a lot of other people did. So shout out to anybody who is on the grind, building it back. That's the only way you can. You can only look at it as like, look, it's gone. If anything ever comes back to me, great. Otherwise, I'm just rebuilding. And we've got the perfect opportunity to do it right now. Time to accumulate. And we're going to look at some of the stuff to expect. Market analysts are keen. One of my favorite words. Look, shout out to the Aussies out there. They love saying keen. One guy in the chat told me one time they absolutely do not, but he was wrong, because I know Aussies that do. But market and analysts are keen to see what will happen around the Fed rate hike decision at the Federal Open FOMC on February 1st, a definitive source of volatility event that could impact the monthly candle significantly, only for BTC price action to change tack immediately. I don't think it's going to be all that dramatic. I think it's pretty much priced in for the most part. Kind of like everybody knows what to expect, and they've been moving that direction for a while. I think this is an interesting chart here. The roadmap took Bitcoin over 25,000, itself a key target for traders, even those who remain wary of mass capitulation event. And that maybe is a better way to say it. Mass capitulation event is, I think, what we should start saying rather than black swan. Something major that would cause a lot of people to capitulate. If you were watching the morning stream today, Ben was discussing, I don't see many more of those mass capitulation events left. We've kind of gone through them with the insolvency. We've seen the miners capitulate. That traditionally marks the bottom of the market. When miners are forced to sell or get out of Bitcoin, another word for capitulation, to change their stance or their holdings, that's generally marked the bottom. And once we get beyond that, it kind of is a slow grind up from there, which I think is the year we're in now. And again, like somebody said, can't wait to, I think it was Chemistry Bro said, can't wait to see my ledger balance, December 24 or early 25, because that's when the real fun's going to happen. But as we're looking at this, and this, if you guys watch Frankie Candles, these are some key levels here. I mean, this is that 25 level here. There's not, like we're in a value area. We could come back down and retest this 22 and then boom, jump right back up to 25 here. And then, which makes sense here. And you can't see just off the edge of this chart, there's really nothing. Well, it's just not on this chart.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah, nothing between 25 when it comes to volume and this 28 level here.
Right.
That's a lot of the macro traders are waiting for 25 and then are expecting a quick move up to 28. I think once we get beyond this FOMC meeting, and again, Drew, I think Drew mentioned the earnings. There's a lot of big tech earnings coming out this week that everybody's expecting it to be very negative, but I think I think we're going to see it to be kind of on target or even slightly ahead. There was a couple of them that started to come out last week. I know you talked about it on the stream, Kelly, on Friday. Do you remember the company that came out and kind of beat earnings last week? Who was it? It was a tech company. It's Tesla. Tesla's earnings were above greater than what was expected.
Yeah.
And if that's any precursor to what we're going to see from these other tech companies, I think Microsoft is kind of setting the tone that it's going to be slow growth or on target, but it'll be really interesting to see these other tech companies. If we come in anywhere close to on target, I think once we clear that, again, that leaves space for the traditional markets to move in a positive direction. We know Bitcoin and the traditional markets aren't necessarily correlated, but they are somewhat correlated to the Fed. And that policy is really what drives that there.
They're correlated to the risk on, risk off mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the knowns and the unknowns. And a lot of times markets love knowns. They like to know what's coming next so they can go ahead.
I was going to say, is that what Daniel Swan did? Risk on, risk off.
Oh,
Risk on, risk off. Yeah. That's pretty good. I like that one. Now we need that meme. We need which ones? Yeah, never mind. We'll go too far down.
Sure, will be Daniel Swan.
Now flipping, and these again, we've covered some of these moving averages, the 200-day estimated moving average or exponential moving average. Range high into support is massive for the bulls, but we've yet to do this, and the people are already euphoric. Think about that. And there is some, it is interesting when the whole market does seem to be moving in the same direction and the sentiment is the same. And this is something, Brian is a constant like, oh, well, if everybody thinks it's going here, I'm just gonna counter trade and play the opposite. And I would say that depends on who you follow. There are still a lot of people out there calling for bearish activity, and this is another hack. I think I've told you guys this before. Look at the crypto accounts you're following on Twitter. If they're older than 2018, you're probably in decent shape. 2018 or older, you're probably in decent shape. Bonus points if you find 2009, 2010, 2012. These are people that have been on tech trends for a long time because Twitter was kind of brand new back then. And a lot of these really strong tech people, 2013, 15, 16, lot of really good traders came in 2017. Those are the ones I try to, listen to what they're saying. And then when you start to see like, hey, a lot of these really good, really experienced heavyweight traders are all kind of feeling generally the same thing. I don't see that as negative sentiment. I find like, okay, that's my confluence because it's lining up with what I'm looking at. And I feel, again, pretty good. I've said from the beginning of the year, I think we can range between 20 and 28, one breakout mid-year above, into the 30s, and then fall right back into the range, accumulate until next year. So,
if you want at some point, it's up to you, TJ. I yesterday I was looking at this whole market cycles cheat sheet for the emotionality of different stages of the market.
The Wall Street
cheat
sheet.
Yeah, Wall Street cheat sheet.
Yep.
I went and I basically mapped out the same thing, except rather than doing emotions, I basically was identifying where smart money buys and where hype cycle, no conviction people buy, and different, and basically mapped out the past cycle all the way to the projection of the top. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's that it's that push up mid-year, from now up until July-ish. Yeah, that's it right there. And then you can see, and then you have the golden pocket, which is in the right about the 50,000 range. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get all the way up there. But then a stiff pullback, a washout, and then back up to new all-time highs.
I don't think we'll make it past 40, in my opinion. We could, but I think 40 is going to be a really strong resistance. We know there was a huge volume, tons of Bitcoin trading hands there.
Yeah, the levels on that is the focus for me on that was giving people a sort of map of where you should and shouldn't be looking for entries and exits. Selling into the strength of a bull market, rather than selling into a capitulation and basically being underwater. Buy in the weakness, sell in the profits. And so, I am happy though seeing that the space and the people in it. I've noticed a growing sort of maturity in the last year and a half, which is really nice. And the conviction of traders. The average coin right now of all coins out there, the average coin held length is 3.6 years.
Well, the only ones left in this space right now are savages. Absolute savages.
Well, they're people that have strong conviction, and they're here. A lot of them probably have been here more than one cycle. They're here for more than just the gains. They're here for the movement. They're here for the revolution. I know that's why a lot of us are here. We want to see the world change. We want to see the world get better. And it's not just about prices pumping. So, price pumping is great. Changing your family tree, your history, your wealth, all that kind of stuff is positive. But we want to see that impact carry beyond, or at least I do, beyond just my family and my friends. I want to see it.
Wealth is worthless if you can't make change.
I mean, do you see
like
Mr. Beast? You saw Mr. Beast just cured blindness for 1,000 people?
No.
I saw his video. I haven't watched it yet.
He paid to have 1,000 people have cataract surgery so they could see.
That's awesome.
Which is
Crazy.
awesome. Yeah, it's nice
shout
to
out
see people doing that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chemistry Bro. Subscribe for 6 months.
Nice.
Oh,
Hey,
subscribing.
subscriber in the chat. Yeah, and on Twitch, obviously follow and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. It's really fun there. So,
Yeah, and weren't we gonna fly Chemistry Bro out here once he donated like $4,000 for a ticket, and then we were gonna buy him a ticket?
no, anybody in the chat, if you guys are ever interested in coming and visiting, you can email info@hitnetwork.com. We love having visitors through. We were actually, I went to the Hawks game with Justin William on Saturday, and we were sitting there having our meal before the game or whatever, and there was a guy that was back there. He's like, "Oh, hey, I know you're Justin Williams. I know you're TJ. I watch all of you guys' stuff. I really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Yeah, come to the building." He's like, "You guys really, I know you guys say that all the time, but like, you really just let us come on through." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, like we might be busy. Like I may not be able to hang out and chat with you, but if you want to come through and see what we do and hang out, we got a, studio upstairs for the live stream. You guys have seen, we've had people, here in the basement before. So yeah,
you might get a weird look from me first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
When you show
Like,
up.
who are you?
Yeah. But then, after I figure you out, you'll be just fine.
I thought it was really funny when I was talking to
Love
or
it,
getting
Chemistry
some representation for some things I'm dealing with. The lady was like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I work for a YouTube channel." She's like, "Well, what kind?" I was like, "Crypto." And she's like, "What's it called?" And I was like, "BitBoy." She's like, "My husband watches you every day." And I was like,
That's awesome.
I was like, "You can tell him." She's like, "Legally, I can't." I was like, "You can tell him."
Yeah, that's awesome. Chemistry Bro says he 1,000% will come visit one day. Love that.
Hell
Riddle with
yeah.
Puns. He said, "I would, but I live in California. I used to live in California, and I made it over here. The planes do fly from California to Georgia, so that's not an excuse." Yeah, and Juggy, I've heard that for about 2.5 years now. That you're only 3.5 hours away up I-85. And I think in the Charlotte area, if I remember correctly, you have no excuse.
Yeah.
You have no
That's not
excuse.
far at
Just make
all.
that drive. Come
Sometimes
on,
there's donuts.
Joel would love it. I know you hang out with Hit Network Gaming, another big Valorant player. So yeah, come on.
I've
through.
only been in crypto since summer 2021. Well, sir or ma'am or Z or Zay, whatever, whoever you are,
Ma'am,
you are a savage to have gotten in then and rode all the way down and still here. You're going to be one of the people that makes it.
Now's the time to accumulate. You're going to have a much better time in 24 and 25. You probably know that if you were in 21, and a lot of people do. Obviously, the price spikes up. It gets in the attention. The media gets out there. A lot of people come rushing.
I
you.
put
Look
that.
at that. That was right when
Great
that face
timing.
was going, too.
Great
That was
timing.
awesome.
Yeah, so obviously that pulls a lot of people in. You start learning, all these crazy coins are doing all these crazy things, and then you get this great pullback. One thing I was thinking about today, and this MasterCard story made me think about it. And it's going to take us a while to get through all these stories. We're talking a lot today, but
Was that a good transition to this article?
well, that's
not
that's
yet.
why I realized that MasterCard thing's like 3 stories beyond, and I haven't
shit.
even really started getting into this one yet. But
There's a lot going on.
But I was thinking of, in 2019, obviously 2018, prices dropped. 2019 got super boring, and kind of the world was, a fairly, negative place. And then kind of towards the end of 2019, a lot of people really started to question their conviction in crypto. And that's when the, capitulation starts happening again. But where we are in crypto today, when it comes to big businesses, partnerships, governments getting involved, I don't think there's nearly as much questioning, is this going to completely go away? Or there's definitely not any in my mind when you hear things like MasterCard partnering, with stuff in Brazil to bring Bitcoin, prepaid debit cards and crypto cards there. MasterCard's getting involved, JP Morgan's getting involved, the US government's getting involved. We've got huge companies and players getting involved in Bitcoin now, and it's very clear that it's here to stay and it's only going to recover from here. And so I think if you got in 2021, at least you have that advantage to know now the prices are way cheaper than they were when you first got involved, when you were first excited about it, when you first had that light bulb moment and thought, what, this price is going here, this is going to change the world, this is going to have real world impact. That's all still here, and I don't think you're questioning if it's going to come back. You're just questioning when, how, all that kind of stuff. Multi-sig dummy, you're late. It's okay. Pump the YouTube while you watch it on 2x speed. Appreciate
Hey, guys,
that.
let's just start over.
Oh, okay.
Say welcome, everybody.
Run it back.
No, just kidding. We're not starting over, but we do love you. All right, so I'm going to blaze through this real quick. That's for some of you guys out there. 98% at this point, CME group, the futures of the 25 basis points. I think that's basically a lock. You know, look, we're 1.1% chance it might be anything greater than 25. So I don't see that happening. So we'll just roll through that.
And that's been known for like
Quite a while. Yeah.
A while that it was coming like
Historically, the index crossover signaled the beginning of bull markets. We're starting to get a lot of those crosses, really healthy technical levels, like I was mentioning with some of the moving averages. The weekly chart's getting better, even the monthly chart's looking better now. And when you start satisfying the chart gods, a lot of fun things starts happening, even if the macro seems a little dubious to, you know, and I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. And I've got a couple, you know, tweets about that psychology there. I think they've been programming people like when the recession was coming, they were telling everybody there's no recession. When the recession is here, they're telling everybody the recession is coming. And now that we're basically through most of the pain in the markets, they've got all of retail conditioned to be afraid and not be entering. And I think that's, you know, it's just the way.
Just the way my name is, a lot of people will be like, all right, where's the next gigantic crash and stuff like that. I was like, man, like you went through it. Like the revelation's a realization. That's what that stands for, you know. And I think that people are awakening, and we've already known about what's going on the macro for a long time. I don't see a massive breakdown in the markets should that continue to escalate, you know. So
I agree.
I see this as just a technological arms race that both sides are working hard on grasping the technology, controlling the money flow the best they can, because the cat's out of the bag. And the best thing we can do as investors is be involved with it and buy land and
that's right.
ourselves. That's
land, Bitcoin, and lead, right?
Yeah,
you
that,
know,
I mean,
land, lead, and Bitcoin.
That's right.
Hell
baby,
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And to your point, just I was talking with, I don't remember if it was TJ or who the other day. As much as all of us are in here, you know, we make a decent living, and all of us we're eating ramen and Easy Mac and take home. I mean, like, because we don't want to spend $1 on anything right now that isn't, you know, absolutely needed in our life. Because every dollar I spend that I'm not investing, and especially in crypto, I literally feel like I'm stealing $10,000 for myself per dollar. So
yeah, your future self is mad at you for every time you're splurging right now in a bear market. In a bull market, spend. You know, take those profits. In a bear market, you know, live like a pauper. You know,
Get that Resvani.
Yeah, buy assets, not liabilities, as they would say.
Absolutely right.
So real quick, this is kind of some of the points you guys had already mentioned. BTC holders staying disciplined. Contrary to expectations, mass profit taking by the average Bitcoin holder has yet to kick in. To Kelly's point, we know it's going dramatically higher. On-chain data from Glassnode confirms this. With the BTC supply continuing to age, I think that was what Kelly had said, coins dormant in wallets for 5 years or more as a percentage of the overall supply hits a new all-time high of almost 28%. So these are long-term holders. These are people that know what they're doing, and they're ready to wait it out. They're ready to hold till 24, 25. They'll probably do a fair bit of profit taking then, and then we'll start the whole cycle over again. So to you future people who come into the market in 2024 and 2020, when you're buying in 25, we thank you for buying our bags and taking our profit. I'm sorry that I'm going to be talking to you in 26 and 27, convincing you that it's going to come back again in 28 and 29. But, you know, the cycle continues, and we'll still be here no matter what. So
screaming from the rooftops, trying to get your attention when it's the best time.
Yeah, right. And then, yeah, exactly. We doing videos saying now is the best time to be accumulating Bitcoin. And it's like, I think it's a scam. I don't want to buy that crap. You know, it's going to zero. It's going negative. And it's like, all right, guys.
$82,000. Hey, can you get me in?
Right. We'll see you at 100K. We'll see you at 150K. And we won't shed a tear for you, but we will still love you. We'll bring you in. We'll educate you. And, you know, you're still welcome. Even, you know, if some people. My favorite quote is the truth is learned. Oh, look at what is that?
Getting faded.
None of us know what that is.
That's
a CV joint, right?
It's
for a car?
It's a kazoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, a kazoo. Yeah, it's
That was a kazoo.
It's a water kazoo.
Yeah, water kazoo. I was gonna say something that bubbles, but
it's amazing.
It's a lamp.
Yeah, a bubbler lamp. That's what it is.
Yeah. Probably 2026 we'll be talking about decentralized science.
Yeah, we have a story on that. I don't know if we're probably not gonna have time to get to it today. Oh gosh. Did you just do that with your mouth? That sounded pretty
No,
good.
it sounded like I thought somebody was flushing.
Yeah.
Hold on here.
How did you do that?
I used to do this
That's
at parties,
really good.
mess with people. This is the best prank ever.
Right? Yeah, you're not on.
It is.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that's
You'll
pretty
get
good.
everybody. You'll know Because people will turn around. You're like,
Got him. I'm just drinking a soda water. Sentiment greediest since 69K. This is interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Another shows that we might be at a local top. And again, I do think we'll move up to 25 and 28. Don't necessarily think it can. I mean, it can happen in the next week or two, but it's not a guarantee. You know, we could. This is what I keep telling you guys. You've heard me say it over and over. We stayed in an extremely tight range for a lot of 2019. It will bore you to death. I expect that to continue this year. How would I know if it sounded good? You're right. I have no idea what that sounds like. I have no idea. It was just a guess. I don't even know what he was actually referring to, but
we're educated.
According to the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, the classic crypto market sentiment indicator, the mood among Bitcoin and alternative investors now predominantly on the greed side. I think it was around 50%. So again, it's not like it's all the way up here where we're really toppy, but
it was at like 60, 65%. I think it hit over the weekend, but still nothing blowing my hair back.
Yeah, sentiment from Bitcoin short-term on-chain participants has reached the greediest level since January of 21, referencing the spent output profit ratio. That's an interesting one. I don't usually... While spent output profit ratio trending above 1 indicates a bullish trend, the indicator is way above 1 right now, and overly stretched. Without increase in stablecoin reserves on spot exchanges, the bull fuel could run out quickly. That's an interesting metric to look at there. Obviously, you need liquidity to come into the market. We're seeing it's not, when the price is pumping right now, it's not necessarily new dollars coming in. It's money flowing out of stables, money that is already in digital assets moving into Bitcoin and then taking profits.
And there's not a huge amount of liquidity either in terms of liquid Bitcoin that's available for purchase either, because there's so much has come off of exchange. If you like looking at the net exchange. You know what I'm talking about. The net flow, net outflow off of exchange has been huge, not only because we're towards the bottom of the market and people are not preparing to sell, but in addition to that, that was compounded by this whole FTX debacle and everything going on with Celsius throughout this whole last year. There's been a huge maturity in that sort of factor where people are self-custodying off of exchange. So that ups that supply-demand factor, which really supports upward price movement.
Yeah, and here's some of this. So I've already kind of mentioned some of these things, so I'm going to kind of fly through this. But why is Bitcoin price down today? Stocks are correcting on the expectation of poor earnings. And again, I think this is a little bit of we'll see. The stocks and Bitcoin price tumbled after recently released corporate earnings reports showed top companies like Microsoft revising down revenue projections as interest rates rise. Looking at Bitcoin price remains closely correlated to equities, and stock market investors have previously expected strong concerns about potentially upcoming recession in the U.S. economy. And again, I think a little of this is overplayed, definitely in the news, while some analysts believe, and I would be in one of these analysts, if that's what you want to call me. Some people say, well, never mind. I'm not going to, oh crap, where'd it go? You know what I was going to say, don't you, BJ?
No comment.
Somebody will call you.
Yeah, exactly. It's very close. Anyway,
while
some people believe this is a generational buying opportunity at current levels, others believe BTC's close correlation to the US dollar index, the DXY, some call it the Dixie. We were talking about that earlier. Equities is reflecting by the price weakness at the 22,500 level. So obviously when the dollar is getting weaker, generally speaking, Bitcoin is going up. That's the index of kind of all the different currencies there. So, when they raise basis points, when they raise interest, that generally makes the dollar a little bit stronger. We could see a slight correction there. Higher costs are likely having a negative impact on the net profit margins. Producers increased by 6.2% in December. We do know we've seen a huge amount of layoffs within the tech industry. Yep. As months tick on, that's going to increase their profitability over time. We know AI is going to be something that they're using a lot to increase their efficiency and profitability. As those things all start to kick in, it does start to set up for more bullish activity in the equities market, which sometimes reflects within Bitcoin. But again, generally speaking, I don't think it's as much what's happening with the equities as it is what's happening with the Fed. What happens with the Fed affects both Bitcoin and equities. Yep. And Bitcoin, generally speaking, follows supply and demand. And the supply is going up. I mean, that was one thing I should have pulled. Maybe we can pull this for tomorrow. I know, what was it? India and Venezuela. I was seeing some of the prices of what people are paying for Bitcoin there in dollars. I think it was as high as 47K in Venezuela right now for dollars. Obviously, there's a huge demand. They see the value. They see the need to get out of their currency that's extremely volatile, where they're losing a lot of their value, losing a lot of their purchasing power. I think the more we move into the future, when you can see digital assets sitting side by side with CBDCs, with local national payment assets, people will start to see their buying power dropping and dropping and dropping in these assets and growing in things like Bitcoin or, maybe Cardano and some of these other digital assets.
Did you see the press it wasn't a press conference. See, it was Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, was speaking with other world leaders.
Oh yeah.
Because they're trying to, I guess it's the bank, the central banks or whatever, IMF or whatever.
International Monetary
They're trying
Fund.
to get them not to be so ingratiated with Bitcoin. And so he gave this beautiful speech, and it's kind of similar to what you're just saying, but not only on an individual level, on a sovereign level. He's saying you're trying to basically do to us what we signed a paper that said that we have independence so we can run our country ourselves, build a country. However, you're trying to make us subjugated to your traditional finance money laws. That's basically going to keep us, we can't grow in that sense. If we run our country, why are we not allowed to use a currency we're picking to? It was excellent conversation he had. He really called them all out on that.
Yeah, and it's good. And so, guys, if you don't follow the drama there, part of why the IMF doesn't like what Venezuela's doing, it's in the International Monetary Fund's charter that they will back any national currency of people within their organization. So if El Salvador is making Bitcoin their national tender, technically it means the IMF should be holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet to back that, and that's what they don't want to do.
So when does that happen? Because we've been talking about this since I started in 2021.
When does it happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it should have already happened. I don't know if
They're
I don't know.
changing the rules of the game as they
Exactly.
go.
And that's why they're putting so much
like
pressure.
they manipulate shit to their
Yeah, like the rules only apply to us. They don't apply to them. The rules are there to help them, and if they don't help them, all of a sudden, we need to go relook at this.
And that's his aggravation with it all, is that they're not adding it to the balance sheet, and they've lost one more fiat customer. Now they have to start looking at these digital assets in a much larger capacity with lots of money that's provided in liquidity from the IMF. So.
And that's what I appreciate about what they did. Even though El Salvador as a nation, it doesn't have it's not a dramatic impact in the dollar sense, but it does move things forward. We talked about it when it happened. It was a very big move in the direction of making this stuff very real. It's pushing the conversation forward. I think last week we talked about just the fact that Department of Justice and other people are saying the word fiat. Now, they didn't even used to acknowledge fiat. They would just say currencies. They would say dollars. They would say anything but fiat. Now they're going to have to say fiat versus digital assets. And again, once you see them side by side, it becomes very obvious in simple terms. People, you can just see, oh, hey, I can buy more with this than I can with that. Oh, I've held this for this long and it's gone up in value. This has gone down in value over time. And it's a lot more feelable isn't the right word, but
tangible.
Tangible. That's a great way to say it. So, fiatable. I like it, BJ.
Yep.
And okay, real quick on the market psychology here. The media has been conditioning the American public for almost a year about an incoming recession. Everyone here is spooked too, meaning Twitter. So naturally, it's taking some time for people to absorb the data coming and start to realize that what we've been told will happen is actually not happening. And that's what I was talking about. The data itself isn't nearly as negative and isn't nearly as scary as what the media has been telling you, what the financial institutions have been saying for the last year or two. And they've been conditioning you. Recession, fear. I noticed watching...
Look at my comment under there. It's already happened.
Exactly.
It already happened. They changed the definition of a recession while we were in the second quarter of a recession.
Right.
Like, we are already past that point.
And we're already starting to see the recovery of it. We're already starting to see the GDP tick back up a little bit, come in ahead of what was expected.
Right.
And again, as that data rolls in, you need to absorb it and adjust it to your thesis. Don't just listen to what other people are saying. Don't listen to the top headlines. Think for yourself. One thing I noticed dramatically in watching the ads in the NFL ads, which we know those are some of the more high priced ads are going to be served to more people. So many people are running on save money, whether it's Verizon, save by switching this, whether it's Amazon, save by direct shipping. They're running on, you're not going to have enough. You need to save money. And that's how we're going to get customers, by savings. And they're pounding that through your head that it's going to get bad. It's going to get worse. And really what they're preparing you for is inflation, which hasn't, that's going to be coming in a pretty dramatic way too, for a variety of different reasons. They're going to have to print here again soon because of the interest rates. And we can't afford to just raise interest rates and not print again. And that, they're going to print as we move towards another election cycle. And again, that's what's going to create supply and demand. As the dollar supply increases, the buying power will go down. The demand's increasing for Bitcoin and the supply is getting smaller. And we're going to see that, play out very dramatically in the next years to come.
There's an interesting comment here, and I actually look at this from time to time too. It says, I work in the RV industry, and we're a leading indicator for markets. And that's basically when people have money to spend to go on vacation is what they're talking about. I've been off for 11 weeks, but I go back next Monday, meaning there's starting to be at least not only a forecast, but some demand for people going back vacations. And that's an interesting thing
well,
there.
And
Thank you, Bobby.
the GDP, what is our GDP supposed to be at? Like they said, like 2.9 or something?
I believe that's correct. Or maybe it was projected 2.4 and we hit 2.9, I believe.
Yeah.
So it looks like here the annual GDP of the United States averaged 3.13% from 1948 till 2022, reaching an all-time high of 13.4 in the fourth quarter of 1950 and a low of negative 8.4 in 2020. So we're actually not that far off from the norm.
Exactly.
Right.
We're moving back.
Which I assumed we were way off.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody would. If you looked at the media, if you look at the headlines, they're screaming doom and gloom still because that's profitable for them. It gets clicks, it gets headlines, and it's, some would say it's, they're following the talking points, that have been passed down from Davos, so to speak.
Yeah,
that's why the media companies go there. That's why the company, the CEOs of companies are talking to media companies or talking to policymakers. Chemistry Bro says manufacturing in general of products with many parts like an RV also can help measure the average cost of manufacturing goods for many industries. Multi-sig dummy, also inflation was measured way differently in the 1900s. It's gamed. Yeah, there's a lot of this stuff is massaged to say the least. We know what happened in the 60s and 70s was a very high inflation, and that's what they're trying to avoid hitting right now.
Yep.
They are somewhat successfully navigating it. I think it's going to show up more in the years to come, which is why I really think we're going to have one of the end of diminishing returns on Bitcoin in 24 and 25, and we're really going to have if you thought 2020 and 2021 was fun, just buckle up for 24 and 25 because I think it's really going to blow a lot of people's minds. It's going to be a lot more dramatic. I think people are going to be a lot more conservative with their estimations. I've already seen it. People are afraid to say anything above 100, 150. I think we blow past 200, no problem. And a lot of that,
bullish.
I'm extremely bullish. Yeah, and a lot of that isn't necessarily meaning that your Bitcoin is getting, Bitcoin's getting more valuable. I think it's just as much the dollar becoming less valuable for some reasons we're about to get into right now. And this is same concept with the market psychology, kind of with what Kelly brought up with what we're talking about with this news here. And it's so fascinating. Everyone wanted Tesla at 300, Netflix at 500, Microsoft at 300, Bitcoin at 50,000. But now they don't want Tesla at 150K, Netflix at 175, Microsoft at 200, and Bitcoin at 25,000. The psychology of investing is wild. And that's kind of what I'm saying. If you understood the value proposition of Bitcoin, if you were excited about where Bitcoin was going, if you were excited about it as a technology at $50,000, you should be elated about buying it right now at $25,000. There's no reason not to be excited. Even if you think it's going to 14, you still know, okay, great, I'll buy more at 14 because that doesn't mean it's going to zero. That doesn't mean my thesis is invalidated. I see the value proposition of a separation of money and state around the world. I see nations flocking to this thing. I see it becoming a national global trade for value and humanity and property rights and so many things that it solves. I'll take it at 25K. I took it at 6 and 7K. I bought it at, I thought I was crazy for buying the top at 20K years ago. And that's what's so insane. It's just bizarre to me, the market psychology of how everybody wants everything when it's at an all-time high, but when it's the same product, the same company, the same technology, when it's pulled back 50%, people are afraid to touch it.
Well, Mark Yusko, he's a CEO of I forget the name of he's a financial company. Really smart guy, and he has I kind of quote him regularly on this. He says, financial assets are bizarre because any other product, for instance, if there's a wedding dress sale or a massive shoe sale, people fight each other over getting those. Think about Black Friday in America when people are fighting to get into a store because of sale. But then the thing that can actually change your life, like a financial asset, when the price goes down on that, people run the other way. And why would you do that?
Or the best part with Black Friday is that things actually cost more, but they jack up the price and then say it costs less, but it actually costs more.
50% off twice the original listing price.
So you're actually spending more
that's
money.
what it is. It's
marketing, boys.
The redder the better right now for me in the next 6 months on crypto. The more blood on it, the more I'm gonna buy, and that's how I felt during the 17 down to 15.
We're
back
vampires,
up.
baby.
I'm a vampire. And those bags that I built during after FTX crushed, like I didn't buy anything since COVID until FTX happened. And I feel great because
Daddy's hungry.
Yeah, and I'm hungry. I know the tree of liberty.
This
dude.
last month and a half, I've been DCAing in so hard. I feel like I need to check into like a 12-step program because I'm like, okay, Kelly, it's your last DCA. You have other things you need to take care of.
Are you going
Like,
Satoshi deep on it?
Yeah.
oh, dude.
Yeah. I beat Mike King says the biggest problem is everyone thinks they need to throw their money in all at once. I agree 100%. Everybody's trying to nail it exactly. Like, when should I buy? I'm like, today, tomorrow, the next day, 2 weeks from now,
yes.
8 months from now. You know, just basically buy in 22 and 23, sell in 24 and 25.
Dude, Bitcoin heard my words. It's dumping now for me, so I can put in my long when it hits that fair value. I'm like, hell yeah.
Taking fat dumps.
Someone
I saw
called the devs.
Who was it? I don't know if it was Jason Casper or somebody was talking about making jokes about fat dumps on Bitcoin, and I'll have to go find it. Was fun. I can't remember the context. He's funny. I posted my Austin Powers fat
like
bastard
his
meme
stuff.
that goes with it or whatever.
These are the
so-
uneven butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And like his all his little funny chart patterns.
Crypto Rex bought it at 3,500 when we were dark AF at that time. I remember that. And everyone was like, what are you doing buying this thing right now? Haven't you
March
heard?
12th, 2020. I'll never forget it.
The world's on fire.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Don't you need toilet paper? It's like, no.
No.
I got 8 years worth
There's
of
leaves
toilet
out there,
paper.
right?
Yeah, I can. There's Indian toilet paper. There's all kinds of things on the ground growing. It's great.
Well, that's a good quote from Mr. Techno Goody. Don't confuse trading and investing timeframes.
Great point. No, that's a really good point because a lot of people are looking at day traders, they're looking at longs and shorts, and they're trying to figure out how to trade. Investing, generally speaking, is I like to look at least a 1 year time frame. You know, do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be higher a year from now than it is right now? If you do, go ahead and buy it. If you don't, then I don't know what to say. I disagree with you, I guess. But day trading, totally different. Ben was talking about it a little bit on the morning stream. You're looking for these resistances. You're looking, again, you're planning like Drew was talking about over the weekend. Hey, it's pushing hard up into, the 20, right at 24. We know that's a resistance. I'm going to look for a short here, write it down to 23 and change and get right back out. And that's, we're talking hour time frames, not yearly time frames. And they're completely different.
One of the things I say almost every day on the BitLab YouTube stream is I like to call it the 3 cycle strategy. Always look at the macro, zoom in, look at the midterm, and then look at the micro, look at the smaller time. Because I can be bullish on the macro, but then bearish on a midterm thing where I'm taking a short down to long back to a bullish. So you need to understand your time frame definitely, and you can adjust your strategy accordingly.
Absolutely. And if you guys haven't subscribed, go check out BitLab. If you want to learn about trading, whether you're new, intermediate, or advanced, there's a lot of really good strategies there. Kelly does a really good job. They do daily free live streams to teach everybody about all that stuff. We've got courses in there. They give indicator tutorials, tons of really good information. So go check out BitLab Academy on YouTube. Subscribe there, and you'll get to see all that alpha that Kelly's dropping. Crypto Sub Method said, bet this is the pre-FOMC meeting dump. Then we rebound back to where we were after the announcement. I tend to agree. I think that's a pretty strong, a lot of sentiment going that direction. Again, that being said, I don't want to overstate. Like, I do think that's going to happen. I do think we could go right back up to bumping our head against the 24, 25 range. And again, if we can break through it, it gets pretty bullish there on some time frames. That being said, it is a pretty strong resistance. So, don't get too bullish too fast with your trades if that's what you're looking to do.
You do have a radio type voice, Kelly.
Well,
I used to host radio on Sirius Satellite Radio.
There it is.
When I moved to New York years ago. But
DJ Kelly.
DJ Casey Kasem with your number 1 hit singles from 1992. But you can also, even with right now, I would actually be thrilled if it even dropped down to the 19.6 level.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a very sort of high volume node, as well as a Fibonacci. That there's a bunch of confluence at that level, and it would really sort of get that washout. I think
You said 19.5?
19.6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can finally say we've established a true higher low, and we can really actually start talking about a bull trend rather than just hoping we're in a bull trend.
Yeah, and then we also had kind of a halfway filled CME gap down in that range too. We were looking at it right when it happened. I think we kind of went down and reached it. We wicked halfway through it, but didn't, I don't think, go all the way back down to 19.5. I think it went to like 19.8 or 7 or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, Crypto Rex, close the CME gap, then blast to 25. Sounds like a party to me. We got a Prepper Crypto tweet here.
TJ, are you trying to get us kicked off the internet?
No.
All right, I'll take it.
with my tweet.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're not wrong.
No, it's you're safe on Twitter.
It's literally just dates
Facts.
and facts. Okay, so yeah.
Dates and facts.
So bricks, this is an alternative ecosystem really that's being built or created. It's been around for a while, but it's really started to pick up steam the last few years here. These are people that want to do global trade outside of the dollar. We've got our key nation that I've been talking about being very vital in where this new economy is going for a while. We know Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett, through Nubank is pretty involved. Even though they FUD Bitcoin, they're very involved in Nubank, which is big in Brazil, and it is a Bitcoin bank. But the B in BRICS stands for Brazil. You've got Russia, India, China, and South Africa in there as well. A lot of the other people kind of trying to play both sides in the middle of the world there. Some of those Middle Eastern Asian countries, they'll still trade in US dollars, but they're also open to trading with BRICS nations. This is a fun fact that, again, a lot of people don't know, even though this is a fairly new concept. Goldman Sachs tends to front run a lot of things. And here's the fact here. Goldman Sachs proposed this concept of BRICS in New York, August 2001.
Yep.
Long time ago.
And the whole reasoning behind this transition that they highlighted in the documentation was the transition in GDP growth and world trade and where world trade is headed. So look at the date.
It seemed like the
Look at the
world trade was
location.
heading down.
I'm not gonna.
That was a bad joke. But it
And
was
yes,
there.
I do need more followers on Twitter, but I've been offline for years. I stayed offline for a long time, even in my band. I didn't have an account or anything like that. So I'm just getting my Twitter account started. So it feels good to wake up and actually see. And I feel like I'm a stallion running through an open pasture on Twitter. So it's,
Just hair blown in the breeze.
it's great. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and real quick, people talking about Bitcoin just dumping 2%. Sneaky, we're on Frankie Candle's trading view here, so don't tell him. I'm not going to get rid of any of his lines. But you can see he was predicting this. We've got the value area low coming in right at 22.5 here. We wicked down to it almost perfectly. We could, and this is the hourly chart. I guess if we go... Let's look at some lower time frames. Yeah, so we hit that perfectly, kind of retrace back up. We could still be getting what's down? What is this number here? This is 22.3. Obviously, the golden pocket a lot of us are talking about is that 20 under 21. And then what is this? Where do we have to go to get? Let's look at a longer time frame.
I was just
Chemistry Bro said go to 7-minute time frame.
7
Perfect
minute.
hair pendant.
Oh well, I don't. How about a 10 minute? I don't have a 7 minute on. Again, I don't want to mess with Frankie's stuff. He might. Who knows if he's in the middle of a stream right now.
DJ's not a big trader.
7.
Yeah.
Boom. 7 minute. There you go. No,
By the way-
I'm more of an investor than a trader. And again, like I said, I don't know. I don't want to mess with all this stuff. I don't want to turn his lines off or anything like that. I like a lot less going on just to look at the charts. But generally speaking, yeah, look, we're filling this very perfectly. You can see they were calling it testing back these levels. I think obviously we're testing this value area low. Golden pocket down here.
I was just in his office screaming about this needing to happen right before this show. We were messing around with him. So, I called the devs, let them know.
There we go. 2,800.
What's your favorite meme coin? I'd like to say the dollar.
$1. Ah, great answer. Great answer there.
Ditto that one. IB Mike King, my buddy in the Navy I saw over the weekend said China and U.S. are ready to duel, which is scary.
They've been dueling for a
Yeah.
long time.
No,
Look,
but there was a projection from a top Air Force general, I think, that there was a leaked memo that they're planning for
who cares?
2025. I'm in the market now.
Yeah, they're dueling. It's called BRICS.
It's called trade war. We've been in it for a long time.
The technological arms race
Right.
is really what it is, man.
It's been happening since well before 2018.
Yeah.
Like I've said on the show before, our main contribution to global economy is our dollar and our consumption. What did we do? We destroyed our dollar's value and we cut all of our consumption for a year straight. What did that do? That wrecked them. What did they do? They responded by changing their trade and restricting what we could get from them.
Right.
And it all goes round and round.
And then they
So-
realize that their money is gone because the outflow of useless goods isn't being bought up by other ideas of sending it to Russia or whatever, Saudi Arabia. They do not consume nearly the amount of useless garbage Americans do, and we have for 70 years, and that's just the heroin that's cooked into the pie.
Yeah.
So
And what was fascinating to me,
That's just the heroin that's cooked into the pie.
it is. Well, I mean, it's a reliance on
what kind of
useless
pie are
good-
you eating?
damn.
Bring some of that to the
I
office.
consider quantitative easing to be this drug that our system cannot get off of.
Yeah. It is true.
And you know, it's going through withdrawals right now because they had to raise rates, and it's going to have to quickly pull off of this sober time frame. And I agree 100% with Ben's outlook for the remainder of the year, potentially the beginning of 2024, them opening up the floodgates and turning full on quantitative easing back on. They don't have they don't have the bandwidth to keep the money printer off for very long,
especially with these interest rates.
They're like,
yeah,
I gotta.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What the interest rates does is it jacks up the interest payments, obviously.
Right.
And like if you hear people talk about like, oh, it doesn't matter how much debt we have as long as we have the GDP to pay the interest. Well, guess what happens when you ramp up the interest rates? You don't. Basically, the United States is in a giant adjustable rate mortgage right now, and it's adjusting hard. And how are we going to pay for that? Is how are we going to make our future payments without printing more money?
Right.
And I'm gonna show that in just a minute.
We get into European manufacturing. Wink, wink.
And this was something that was interesting. I think it was in the Bernie Madoff document, not this.
Such a good. The Netflix
yeah.
Madoff one?
Yeah, the necklace.
Oh,
yeah. And I
so
know I've
good.
told you guys to watch it. I hope some
I
of
don't
you
have Netflix. I need to get up.
What was interesting, I believe this was in this. It might have been somewhere else that I saw this, but they started covering some of the mainstream media headlines that were coming out through the 50s, through the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, where they were really pushing big consumption. We can buy more. You know, after World War II,
Right.
you can own more. You need bigger, more, greater.
Well, the credit
This is the
boom.
American dream. This is what Americans need to be doing.
Yep.
And then they started changing it to like right now they're pushing very hard. You can. If you have like tiny homes blew up out of nowhere, you can live with less. You can save. Americans can live on 50% of what they have been living on. And it's all conditioning that comes years before the market comes into reality and it actually plays out. What's up, Crypto Myco?
So it's Chris Farley economics. We're gonna live in a van down by the river.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, that's a lot closer to the average Bitcoiner than you might think. So, all right, we're gonna hit this story real quick. This was a big news from the Watcher Guru. I put this in a similar category to like the El Salvador stuff. Big news. Not gonna have a dramatic impact on the short term, but long term, this is a big step that moves things in the right direction.
Yep.
Binance and MasterCard to launch a crypto card in Brazil. Another thing that Binance is doing to move the thing forward. Another thing showing Brazil, again, a top 10 GDP economy, I believe, depending on what year you're looking at. It could be, I think I looked at today, and just for perspective, Brazil has a much bigger GDP than people would think. It's when I was looking at it, it was Russia number 9, Brazil number 10. So that just give you a little context, a little perspective there. Pretty substantial story. Global cryptocurrency exchange Binance has paved the way for crypto adoption through its various development initiatives. One such initiative is the launch of the Binance Card, which allows users to spend crypto in various purchases. It's not as much to me about the spending as it is the access and the availability and seeing Bitcoin and crypto next to other things. Realistically, it's just a prepaid card partnership. It's not that dramatic technologically, but psychologically, I think it's going to have a huge impact. The card is also currently in beta. It will be accessible to the wider public in the next weeks. The card is issued by DOC. Users of the exchange will also be able to convert cryptocurrencies to fiat currency in real time during purchases. Users will be able to earn 8% cash back in cryptocurrencies. It's going to support Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Binance USD, SHIB, Matic, Link, ADA, and others. So, again, not necessarily groundbreaking when it comes to technology, but definitely impactful as we move forward. And this is what I was going to talk about with the interest rates. This, again, another interest rate expense on national debt in 2022, $475 billion, while the average interest rate was 1.9%. Now interest rates are 4 to 5%. This is why I'm saying we're in an adjustable rate mortgage, to put it in perspective for you guys. If you ever had an adjustable rate mortgage and you experienced what happened to you in 2008, 2009 when interest rates adjusted, what happened? Your payments went way up. Now interest could be $1 trillion or more this year. They will have to print money to pay for it. And this is how you get hyperinflation. This is why it trends. This is why they need so much more demand for the dollar. This is why I think they see USDC as a way to create global demand for the dollar. If they can get more demand, then they can afford to print it without getting too close to hyperinflation. But at this point, it seems inevitable to me. There's no way out of this hole. All they can do is prolong it. And I think they've done a very good job of prolonging it up until this point. We know we're already over the average lifespan of a reserve currency. I think it averages around 100 8 years approximately over the last reserve currencies over the history that we've experienced so far. And I think we're at like 110 right now with the dollar. So we've done a good job of stretching that out, and I think we're going to continue to stretch it. Maybe we can stretch it another 5-10 years, but I think within our lifetime we could see the dollar no longer be global reserve currency. It is trending towards Bitcoin. I think it will trend towards something that is separated from any one nation. Obviously, that's what's better for the world. That's what's better for competing nations, whether they like each other or hate each other. If they could have a global reserve that is, politically neutral, I think obviously that would change a lot of things in the way trade happens, and we are definitely moving in that direction.
Bretton Woods 2.0.
Exactly. The Bitcoin Bretton Woods.
Yeah, and I think you're dead on. I do think that I think that America's still going to remain in control through tokenizing it and kind of controlling the valves, though. So that's why I don't think we're going to have such an open landscape. And that's just my opinion on the military side. And I don't want to get into that because, if you want to follow my Twitter, you can get my opinion, because all these talks about hyperinflation and this is guaranteed. I don't think it's guaranteed. I think they're just going to tokenize the banking sector and create a new hallway to kick a can down. So, that's just kind of I wanted to just add my opinion on that, because I think that we're going to still remain in pretty good control in 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Dr. Triss, first time chat, says, what's up, basement? Welcome in. What's up, Dr. Triss? Crimson Caravan Company, an actual hot world war is the only real way to change the world reserve currency, in my opinion. And I would say so far. And I think we are kind of
basing that off the previous 2 times they did it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
we're just going off of the past data here. I'm not trying to guarantee anything or gloat or anything, but there's just so much talk about America's just this easy thing to push over, and the media has been really harsh on the strength that remains within this country. And there's a good 70-80 million people just like me that are not that way. So, it's a much different reality than the media is painted.
And I would say World War as well is going to be much different in the future than it has been in the past. Technology changes, trade changes. I think, like I said earlier in the show, I think we've been in a world war. It's just a global trade war, and it's been going on for years. And that is what's pushing this conversation and the development of a different reserve currency, whether it be Bitcoin, no matter what they do. They're going to do everything they can to hold on to the dollar, I feel like. But slowly, it will start to be eroded over time, because they've got themselves in a pickle, and they can draw it out and they can prolong it, but it's going to be psyop, info war. That's been happening for a long time. Drone swarms coming. Yeah, you guys get it. It's going to be it's going to be Ender's Game out there eventually. If you guys have ever seen that.
Yeah, and the crew in the basement, they're very intelligent. Chat we got in here every day. So
it is this. Go ahead.
Question from Crypto Sub Method, off topic, but have we heard anything new about Binance's Swift partner banning U.S. transfers under 100,000?
Yeah, we covered that we covered when it happened last week. I haven't
bank, right?
It was through Signature. I haven't seen any updates on that. They did say they're going to get a new partner. We can look into that for tomorrow. This was another thing that was interesting. Speaking about trade, and again, I don't know if this is confirmed. This is just according to usdebtclock.org, which is a fun way to say it. Why does USD debt show a $0 ratio to oil barrel, gold, and silver? So dollar to oil, 0 per barrel, dollar to silver, 0, gold, 0. It's just very interesting. And who knows if that's
I saw it. I checked it when this was originally posted. It was showing zeros.
It might be just an API
Go
glitch.
to the right of this, yeah.
Oh,
it does say 0 all the way to the right. Wow.
Yeah.
Dollars to silver, gold, oil, all showing 0.
I don't think it shows on this screen.
You have it off screen.
Oh, I can't. Well, I can't really show. Yeah, we're just cropped just a little bit, but I can see it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But here you go. This is if you guys ever want to see our debt ticking on up there. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's a good driving factor for why you should find new currencies here. Just go leave that running for one day, and you'll be a Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. USDebtClock.org for those of you at home.
Yeah.
If you want to, like he said, if you want to become a Bitcoiner real quick, just sit here and stare at this. You can stare at the Bitcoin chart on one hand. That'll do something for you. But staring at the debt chart, man, that'll really keep you up at night. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all right, we're going to save this other stuff for next time. Sorry, BJ, we'll do your D-size story tomorrow. Sorry, it wasn't necessarily from the best news anyway.
Yeah, it's a little. We'll get into that. We got to contract.
Are we
That's
rating Yoel, or
nasty.
do we want to go to crypto people?
Either way, if Joel's on or if there's a crypto person on, I think we could raid them as well. Check it out. We really appreciate all of you guys for being here. We love you so much. Stick around, hang out for the raid because they definitely love the support as well. Riddle with puns, The Matrix, Bud Light, your Urkelson, Crypto Sub Method,
Crazy
Puin 78th Div, Mr. Techno Goody, Razmataz, Crimson Caravan Company, Hellfire Spawn, X82,
XRP.
Juggy. I'll just stare at you, TJ. I'll stare at you too, Juggy.
Wow.
I see you.
They want to raid Joel. They want
Yeah,
play
Ray
Mario.
Joel. All right,
Raiding Joel.
Hit Network Gaming. They're gaming it up, always having a good time, laughing, goofing off. Big Hands Dan, Red Robles, Manly Crypto, Evan Coons, The Matrix, Breadman 3,
Sofa
Crypto
King.
Cody, Cook Dog, Aztec World, Ralphie 227, Randall Scott. There he is again. Anybody else? As always, we love you guys. Stay
Cook
safe
Dog.
out there. Buy Bitcoin. Be friendly. Tell somebody. Convert somebody to Bitcoin.
That's right, man.
You know.
Wake
Okay,
'em up.
bye.
Bye.
Peace.